Welcome to Here Where You Belong, your go-to podcast for exploring belonging with your host and belonging expert, Dia Irby. We are thrilled to have you join us. Together, we'll dive into the depths of what it means for each of us to find our own place in the world, whether it's within our communities, our relationships, or within ourselves. Today's episode is meant to inspire, uplift, and remind you that no matter where you are or where you're headed, you have a place where you truly belong. So grab a cozy spot and settle in. Welcome to Here Where You Belong.
Welcome back, folks. Today on Here Where You Belong, I'm so excited because this person is joining us from the other side of the world, from Nairobi, Kenya. I guess that's the other side. It's really far away. My geography's not great, but let me tell you a little bit about the financial advisor, George Oyuga. He's a polished pension consultant with an illustrious career that spans over 18 years experience. As a certified professional trainer, he has a passion for shareholder capacity building. He's a senior trustees trainer at the Trustee Certification Program, TDPK, and as such has trained many trustees. George has held various senior roles in the financial services industry where he has served various firms like Old Mutual, Zamara, InWealth as manager and general manager, respectively. He's currently the director of retirement solutions at Kuza Asset Management Limited. Kuza is licensed as a fund manager for both Capital Markets Authority, that's CMA, and Retirement Benefits Authority, RBA. And Kuza portfolio includes both KES and USD money market funds, which we might need to ask him about that. George is equally passionate about blending finance and psychology. He has also, as a hiker, summited the rooftop of Africa. And I checked in on his office. He has an office in the King's Prism building, which already is the tallest building in Nairobi. So he's all about being on top. Welcome, George, to Here Where You Belong.
Thank you very much, dear, for this invite and for hosting me and giving me such a welcoming introduction that makes me feel that now I surely belong.
Yes, you do. Do you have anything to add or subtract from what I said? Oh, let's go back to the KE. What was it? The KE and the USD. I'm guessing that's Kenya money and American money markets.
Your guess is very right. KES is Kenya shilling. USD is the United States dollar.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. So, getting all your finances in order is very important for feeling like you belong in the world. I mean, you can feel really lost if you don't have money for your everyday needs, or you get old and retired and you don't have any money, right?
Yeah. You are very right, dear. And
tell us about how to be ready.
Great. There's something that I have picked over time, and this is the truth of belonging, which is guiding us to appreciate the fact that it's not how much you earn that gives you the sense of belonging. It is how you manage the little that you earn that gives you the sense of belonging and success, for that matter. Yeah.
So you can have a whole lot of money and waste it all.
Very, very true. And that, of course, does not sum up as being wise. So today, in this session, I'll share something that excites me, which is an acronym, WISER, W-I-S-E-R, where the W there stands for wealth. Most of the time when you talk to people and you want to hear what their perfect environment and dreams in life look like, they will paint a picture of wealth. But there is no wealth conversation without investments, and that kicks in the eye. Why? Because if wealth is not explained using an investment path, then definitely we are going to cluster that person either in other corruption or they got their wealth through unconventional means. Then on the investments again, you cannot invest what you have not saved, which kicks in the S.
Yes.
So WIS, and then you cannot save what you have not earned, which is the E. And then earnings are precipitated by relationships, and that is where now belonging happens. Because you have to be related to somebody, maybe you are an employee, to be related to an employer for the earning to come in, or you have to be related to a client who will buy your service and buy your goods. And that's where, again, earning comes in. So that R for relationship is also something worth exploring because it's about belonging.
I love that. Is that your own creation, or is that part of some of the training you've gone through to get all your certifications that you have?
Yeah, it's a part of the trainings, but I polished it up and brought it now out clearly as WISER, as an acronym, WISER concepts.
It's succinct. It captures it all. And when you have those relationships on the R and you're belonging with people, if you have earned your money and saved it and invested it and you have your wealth, then you can be a better contributor to a community as well. So your belonging is even stronger there. You can make a difference. And we all want to make a difference, right?
You are right, yes. And when you ascend that ladder all the way to the top, you actually create another new sense of belonging, another new belonging where your relationship shifts to a new gear because you now get your money to work for you. So your relationship is at another level. Wealth can only be sustained when it is the money now working for you.
It
takes over.
Yes. When you can get your money to work for you,
Yes.
Then that is, and that's through investments and saving.
Exactly. That is through investments and saving. So your money gets to work for you. And I like what you said in one other interview some time back, where you said that we are not human doings. We are human beings. And that can only be perfected if we are wise human beings. And hence, the wise are a concept. How about that?
I like that a lot. Let's talk a little bit about the training of trustees. What does a trustee do, and what do they need to be trained to know how? I mean, let's say I want to be a trustee. What does that even mean? Why would I want to be, and what do I need to know? Does that question make sense?
Great. Now, a trustee is an individual who has been entrusted, from the word trust, to manage resources on behalf of another party. So in this case, what is bestowed on them is called a fiduciary responsibility. So they manage estates, they manage assets on behalf of a fiduciary, on behalf of a beneficiary who in some instances may actually be a minor, one who has not yet attained the majority age of an adult. So it's a high integrity level of responsibility that is bestowed on them. So because the trustees I deal and work with are trustees of pension funds, retirement arrangements, they need to undergo some training that then gives them the basics of how to perform their duties. And so we take them through training on the structure of the retirement arrangements. We take them through training of the legislative space and what it looks like. We also take them through training on governance. And then we also take them through training on investments because they'll be making investment decisions. And then also training on how to guide those members to make better choices in life. And that means we'll have a more healthy community.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but in Kenya, what percentage of people are financially wiser?
Whoa, the last time we checked, our literacy, financial literacy level was not that high. It was below 30%. So that tells you that there is a lot of need and gaps that we still continue to at least feel. And that's why we are so passionate about financial literacy, to help people get to a level where they can make better, wiser financial decisions.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So the field is wide open for you to have business. You're in the right field. Of course, using your acronym again, you have to be in a relationship with them to help them earn the money.
Yes.
So that they can save it, to invest it, to build their wealth, working backwards on that. And do you have any advice or suggestions on how a person can build a relationship with someone, to have them as a client, to grow your client? Or how do you do your lead generating? I mean, you could walk out the door and probably stop 3 people on the street and they could use your services, but that's not based on a relationship. How do you build relationships with people?
I think it starts with the sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it starts with a sense of belonging, because the moment everybody feels they are a part of a community, then it gives them that sense of belonging. And there is no one out here who you can say does not have money. People interact with, even those who call themselves unemployed, in some way, they interact with money. And because they either get it as a gift, or they get it as a stipend, maybe a help or a relief or something like that, so they still also interact with money. So for me, how I do my lead generation is to help everybody appreciate that with the financial discussions, you start with what you have where you are, and that is in the community.
You have to be faithful with the little that you're given.
Exactly.
Right? Yes. Let's talk a minute about climbing the rooftop of Africa. You're 6'2", you're tall, and that is the tallest place in Africa, right? And so you're taller than everybody that's shorter than 6'2". Tell us, did you do this with a group? What inspired you to accomplish this? And where is it exactly? Tell us about that adventure.
Okay, great. Now you're getting me to talk about something that I'm passionate about. Awesome. Yeah, so the tallest point in Africa is at the tip of Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro is in East Africa, in a country called Tanzania. So I am in Kenya. So that means that I had to cross the border to be able to get to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. So we went as a group, and what motivated us was that we were raising funds for a children's home.
Ooh.
Yeah, so everybody had been given a target of how much you need to raise, either talking through friends or your corporate colleagues, and you raise a certain target, and then part of that target would be used for your expenses as you climb the mountain, because you have costs in terms of food, paying the guides, paying the for the entry fees, because it is actually in a protected area in a park. So all those costs will be there, but they'll just be a fraction of the target that you are raising. So it took us 4 days of hiking the mountain. Of course, it is no mean feat because the experience is tough. The temperatures there are freezing, and it's long walks of like 8 hours in one given day. You don't get to sleep in a cozy place. You sleep in a sleeping bag. At times, let me say this, blinking a bit, no showering. That's the mountain experience.
Right.
You can
Well, you
imagine.
said 4 days. Was that to get to the top, or do you add another 4 days to walk down it, or did they give you a ride after you got up there?
No, it was 4 days to get to the top and come down.
Okay.
So going took us 3 days, and then coming down took us 1 day. It's a bit easier.
It's all downhill.
Yes.
Yes, it was worth it. Oh, wow. So you went with a group and for a wonderful cause. Did y'all meet your goal?
Yes, we did. We met our goal because you had to meet your goal to be in the team that was to scale the mountain.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes.
And where is the children's home or school, was it?
The children's home is in Nairobi.
Okay.
Yeah, and it is affiliated to the church. Yeah, so what we were doing was to accelerate the fundraising by packaging it with an activity that was exciting to the masses for those who could manage. And we got there. And what happened was that if, for example, Dia is a friend of mine and Dia does not want to climb the mountains, then I would say, Dia, you can sponsor 1 kilometer, which I will walk on your behalf. And that is the only way we get with you to the top.
And I would feel like I went with you because I paid for that kilometer.
Exactly, that's the feeling.
That is awesome. So I'm guessing that there was a lot of camaraderie, a real community that was developed with the hikers. I mean, did you, because you have to make sure you have the right shoes and you have enough pairs of socks so your feet don't kill you and all the parts of it. So what did you learn about community and belonging, experiencing that with this group of people?
One of the biggest lessons there is that scaling the mountain definitely is teamwork. And there is no teamwork if you attempt to exist alone. You must exist in a community for you to be able to achieve that. And because Mount Kilimanjaro's peak is at a height of 5,895 meters above sea level, that already tells you that it is no mean feat. So there are times definitely where the psyche and the energy of the group is what keeps you going. And at times, because of that sense of community, when you feel like giving up and look at the others, and you can imagine how that would be sad news to them, you actually keep on going because you are now doing it not on your behalf alone, but on behalf of your fellow hikers, as well as remembering those children back home whom you left, for whom you are raising the funds. That was enough motivation, which of course drops in the sense of community. So there's a community that went up the mountain. There's a community that was left back at home cheering you up.
Yes, I'm sure you could feel the support almost pushing you up the mountain. Like my kilometer that you're supposed to climb for me, it's ahead. You have to go there. You have to get there.
Exactly.
So yes, would you do it again?
Definitely yes, I would.
Well, that's a recommendation. I don't know if any of my listeners out there have climbed Kilimanjaro, but that would be fun. That's a challenge. You get a group, do it
Yes.
together.
For a worthy cause.
Yes, for a worthy cause. That's it.
Exactly.
So much, what a great story and so much good stuff. We're going to be right back after this short message. Hey there! Isn't my guest amazing? So glad you joined us today. In this world that often feels disconnected, building community and fostering belonging are essential. That's why I created this podcast, to bring inspiring people to you, to encourage you to create that sense of belonging and community, no matter where you are. If you're being blessed by my guest, and we have some more, like, subscribe, and share this podcast. You know who needs to hear this. Stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember, you belong. Now, back to our amazing guest. And we're back with my guest, George Oyuga. We just heard about his climb to Kilimanjaro for a worthy cause with a community. And now I would like to ask, now that is a pretty big accomplishment, I would say, but what is your favorite or most, what you would say is your best accomplishment, or how did I ask that? Usually your greatest accomplishment?
My greatest accomplishment, dear, I would say I'll derive it from looking back to see the number of lives that have been changed when we share financial literacy tips. Why? Because every time we roll out the Wise R concept to people and they embrace it, and you start seeing positive change. Somebody tells you that I have been working round the clock many years, but I could not look back and see any savings that I have done. Thank you for the Wise R model that you gave me. Now I can cite some savings. I can invest in the money market that we talked about earlier. I have something building, because in life, one needs to know the way they've been addressing certain financial issues and decisions may not necessarily be the right way. So when they learn and they implement and their lives change, I feel good. I am achieving.
Yes, I can see the reward of the impact changing people's lives, helping them feel like they belong in the world and can function in the world. Do you have any one particular favorite story of an individual? You can change their name to protect the innocent or protect the guilty, whichever. But do you have a story about someone that is one of your favorite stories to tell as an illustration?
Yes, I do. I have several stories. So let me change the name of this person and call them Pete. Yeah, so Pete was a farm worker in some farm, and he happened to pass by when he was holding one of the workshops in a shopping center near where he was working. He had actually just taken a walk to go and maybe see what's happening in the center before he goes back to the farm. And then he got there and we saw him. He was a bit curious. We thought he was lost, only for me to ask, hey, Pete, you look like you're lost. Can we help you? And everybody who was around there laughed and told me, if there is anyone here who actually should be deemed to be the most domiciled person in this village, is this guy. So you are wrong on your perception. Then he said he saw people gathering and he felt he should come and find out what was happening. So I told him, yeah, it's free. You can attend the session. And he attended. I am telling you, he later on called me after some few months and was telling me that one thing he picked, he has not gotten to the top of the ladder with the WISER model to the W, but he is at S for savings. And the thought that he has something in the account which he put aside is just excellent, gives him a lot of sleep nowadays. He does not work like he's a victim of circumstances in terms of finance. And that has changed his life. So I hope he will continue with the model and gets to a point whereby he can see value and more value as he continues to save and invest. So that's one classic example of somebody who was not saving earlier on, had no means of budgeting, because for you to be able to get from the E for earning to the S for saving, you have to have some budgeting skills. So we shared some budgeting models with him, and he was now able to see that there is actually extra money, which I was not seeing before, which is a good thing. Yeah.
That is a great message. So you're out, do you go to these towns or cities or villages and do free presentations to train people? Do you advertise it ahead of time? How does that work? And, it was no accident that he went for a walk and discovered you.
Exactly.
I'm sure of that. So how does that system work?
The way the system works is that in most of the communities in the urban and semi-urban areas, they cluster themselves into welfare associations. You find them in some cooperative movements, which is one big thing here in Kenya and in Africa. The cooperative movement is so great. So it promotes that sense of community, the sense of belonging, and people have realized that when we collect many of us together, then they are able to achieve much and more goals as opposed to if everybody was pursuing their own. So we try and get those welfare associations, and we call them circle movements. The cooperative movements are called circles. Then we assess them, and then we schedule sessions and workshops for them. So with those ones, then now we are able to, at least when you make one trip, you get to talk to enough people because they're already in clustered and organized groups. Others are doing like table banking, for example, women in the villages doing table banking, coming together to do merry-go-rounds. We come and tell them that no, having just money circulating in a merry-go-round does not add value to you. So we help them be able to get ways of saving better and also investing and achieving certain things in life. And then because for some people, when it's their turn to get the monies, they put the money into, I would say, some expenditure patterns that one is not proud of when they look back. So nowadays we are guiding them that you do not save to waste it, you save to invest it. So they are getting to the next level. And with the proceeds on investments from those money market funds that we mentioned earlier on, some of them are now getting their money to start working for them, and they're feeling it, by the way.
And that success just breeds more success because you come out of a cloud to see the light, that there is a possibility. You're not stuck in how it's always been done, or my parents, or the village, or all the people I know do it this way, and then that's just life. But when someone has some success like Pete, then they are encouraged to continue and to keep on. And that's phenomenal. I am so excited for all of Kenya that you are there and part of that and making such a big difference. You did mention that you accomplished discovering your purpose in the context of capacity building to empower people to be better stewards where they belong and as they belong. And you are doing that. And what a contribution to the world, because now that will, like ripples on a lake,
yes,
roll out to, they will teach other people, their children, their family members. It will grow and it will impact all the shores on all the world, in the ocean of the world. It'll make ripples on every shore.
That is very, very true.
Yes, I ask my guest for their favorite quote, and you said you start belonging when you're one day becomes
day one.
Now tell us what that means to you and why you chose that as your quote.
I loved that phrase. Why? Because for me, it's normally the call to action. It brings me to act on whatever it is that I need to do and accomplish. Because we all know that at the end of the day, procrastination kills whatever good thing that may be on the table, or you may have desires and dreams. If you procrastinate, you will never achieve it. So for me, the procrastination killer in this sense is my one day. If I keep saying one day I will, one day I will, that's how we even got to Mount Kilimanjaro. Our one day became day one and we began the hike. So it's a call to action. That's why it's my dear quote, and I love it.
Did you grow up a wiser financial person, or did you come to a point where you had the realization this was the way you needed to go?
Many of us, and I know I am not an exception, none of us is born knowing everything. These are acquired traits, acquired skills, and the like. So it's in my work career journey, and it was actually almost 5 years down after I had made my own financial mistakes that I got to a point where I was like, I think looking back, things don't look so good, but looking forward, I know what to do. That's how now Wiser came in, because I was like, the Bible says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his grandchildren. It's in Proverbs 13, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that child who has received this wealth or inheritance has zero financial knowledge, then definitely they'll just put it to waste.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I will not be the son who wastes whatever has been left, neither will I miss the mark on the wise man who leaves something for those who are coming in the next generations. I've got to do something. That's how I got the passion to pursue all these. And it's been a nice journey so far. I'm not yet there. I can't say I am there unless the government comes for me. I am not yet there, but I'm work in progress.
You are definitely on the right path, whether it's up Kilimanjaro, down, or every day to the office. How you're working toward becoming a qualified financial therapist, or you already are one, and how does that tie into one day becomes day one?
Awesome. I have my background in finance. Last year, but one, I got the passion of pursuing counseling, psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because when I paused and looked at the society and the community we are in, I discovered that most of the ills in our society trace their way back to money. Because if you look at everything else, either it's from something being committed against another person, most of the time the drive is money, either in defense or pursuit of it. Then when you look at those who do not have, it's also because money has not been equitably distributed across. So there are the haves and the have-nots. When you're talking about children in some society being malnourished, and it's because they do not have the money to access the right diet. Prisons are full of people who have been sentenced there. If you drill down on what was the real motivation there, somebody was either in pursuit or in defense of money. So money, therefore, sits at the foundation, at the epicenter of most of these societal ills. And from a counseling perspective, counseling psychology perspective, then you discover that we are dealing with so many things, but we are approaching them from a curative point of view. What if we did the preventive side of things? Because prevention is better than cure. rather than come and address someone who has already undergone mental health problems and challenges, why can't we maybe educate them, empower them financially so that they will not get into those financial stresses, which then now will lead them to those mental health conditions? So that's why I said, using the preventive model and approach, can I be able to blend my finance with counseling so that the blend of those two will form a nice cocktail that we call financial therapy?
I like that. Yes, it's like just putting a Band-Aid on something that keeps bleeding, or an artery's cut and you put a Band-Aid on it, it's going to keep bleeding until you take care of the artery.
Exactly.
And same thing with not being financially savvy, or the reason you have problems is because you don't have any money, and telling people to eat better when they don't have food, they can't buy food, then that's not helping. So excellent, excellent, excellent work. Wow, so much. We are all going to be wiser and have a goal of being wiser with our finances, and be challenged that we don't say one day anymore, that we start saying day one. It's a call to action. And it has been fantastic, phenomenal, wonderful to have you all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, to join us on Here Where You Belong. Do you have any last words that you would like to share with the listeners?
You have pretty much summarized it very, very well, dear, that everybody needs to get their one day promises, presses, and dreams to become day one. And if you are touching any money, either from earning, from a gift, whatever it is, the source that you have, always remember the wise R model. From those relationships that earn you the money, to the earnings, to the savings, to the investments, and boom, to the wealth.
I love it. What a great wrap up. So that's the end of this episode on Here Where You Belong with fabulous George. And I'm so glad you were able to join us. And that's it. Listen, stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember you belong. This is Dia Irby on Here Where You Belong. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning in to Here Where You Belong. We hope today's episode has inspired you to embrace the beauty of belonging in your own life. Remember, no matter where you are or where you're headed, you have a place where you truly belong. Join us again next time for more insightful conversations and heartwarming stories. Until then, stay connected, stay true to yourself, and always remember that you belong.